Hi guys, welcome back. So I'm partway through creating classic bridal look for anybody that wants to see it. I've just finished my skin. Drink break. So I've just finished my skin. Please do watch that video if you haven't already. Now we're going to move on to the rest of the face, split it into two videos because I thought one would be way too long and you'd all fall asleep. Just always thinking about you. There's one photo I get showed. There is one photo in particular that I get shown all the time by brides-to-be, and it is that classic golden brown smoky eye. So let's get started. I'm gonna prime my eyes. First step, so important, excuse me. I normally use a MAC one, but for the life of me, I don't know what I've done with it. I'm just going to be using this one by Arbonne, and I'm just going to pop it onto my eyelids and then use my fingers to press it into place. I'm going to be using my ring finger to press that into place. And what you want to do is take the tackiness away from that eye primer with a colour that just sort of matches your eyelid, basically.
What I failed to mention here is that I'd be using a light neutral eyeshadow colour.
If I were to be putting any colour straight onto there, it would stick and pull to the areas that have got the eye primer, and you wouldn't get that totally smooth blend that everyone's after these days. I'm just tapping this on until I feel that that tackiness from the eye primer has disappeared. So first things first, I'm going to go in with a relatively light, I'm going to use this one, I'm going to go the warmer side of things actually, and I'm going to focus the product on the outside of my eye and work it into, I want to create a lovely shape like this. So I'm going to pack the colour here first, and when I say pack I mean press. Pack, press, same thing. And then I'm going to start working it into the shape that I want it. Pro tip, if you're doing this on somebody else and you're not sure about their eye shape or where the placement needs to be, if you get them to keep their eyes open just for this first initial bit so you can place it where you know it needs to go. And I don't mean like open because obviously that's quite difficult, but looking down open is really helpful. So I'm packing the colour here and then I'm stretching it out, outwards and upwards. And you'd actually be surprised how much depth you can get from one colour. This is still the same colour from that Morphe palette. And I'm just repeating the process until I'm happy with the result. Another tip, always a brush with nothing on it to buff out the edges, and then always do the stage of the eyes at the same time. Always do the same stage on both eyes before you move on. And to keep this part of my eye clear, or the client's eye clear, it's a great spot for a shimmer, because if you can't sparkle on your wedding day, when can you? I don't know what that was. There we go, that'll do, happy with that. And then I'm going to move on to a slightly deeper colour in the same shade, Brigade. I'm going to be using this one here. I'm just going to start by picking up a little bit because I don't know how intense it's going to be. And basically what I'm going to do is work the same areas that I've just worked, but less. I'm not going to be spreading it as far. Does that make any sense? So again, pressing that into there, packing the colour there, and then pulling it out. Oh, and I'm using a different brush now. This is a denser brush than the last because I want to be more area specific with where I'm actually putting this eyeshadow, but it's still a little bit fluffy enough for me to buff the edges out and stuff. But it's so important to hang on to the brushes that you have just used because that will help you get that lovely blend. So I'm going to go over the top with the brush that I've used with the lighter colour, and again stretch and pull that product out to give me a lovely shape, like a flawless blend. I think that's as intense as I'm going to go for now. You can always add more. Now I'm going to move on to a liner, and I'm going to go in first with a really dark brown, and then if I feel the need I'll fine line with a black. Right, I'm going to show you how you can make anything into an eyeliner right now. So all you need is a palette, something similar, a little scraper, I know that it's not called a scraper, but as we've confirmed today, I've lost the ability to talk like a normal human being, so we're just gonna go with it, okay? And some eyeshadow. So, God, I'm going to be, not enough hands, I'm going to be scraping a little bit of this out of the pan onto my palette. I have this very nifty little product by Inglot, and it basically, it's called Duraline, and it basically turns everything into waterproof liner. And what I love about using an eyeshadow instead of an eyeliner is that you know you're going to be able to blend it. This is great. It is a little pipette. You push the button on the top, it picks some product up, and you just plonk that on the palette, or you know, whatever you might be using. I'm using a super fine tipped brush. Can you see that? I've run out of hands. I got a pack of like 6 of these from Amazon, and they've been amazing so far, so good. They're just paint brushes, they're not makeup brushes. Okay, and so I've mixed that all together there, and I've created my very own dark brown eyeliner. Now what I'm going to be doing with this is I'm just going to run it along my lash line and build a little bit of it out towards the edge. I am going to be going over the top and smudging it because I think it's softer and prettier and more bridal, in my humble opinion. Here we go. What I love about that Inglot stuff is it's very wet, which I recognise sounds quite stupid, but it glides so nicely. There's a lot of gel liners that I have that I feel I have to tug at them quite a lot, and they tug and pull the skin, and it's not the perfect sort of gorgeous line that we've got there. So I'm just going to pull it out the corners a little bit. I don't want a wing, but I do want a bit of thickness there. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side already because I don't want this to dry up in my lap. Keeping it very close to the lash line, and then get it all over your face. It's fine, I'll figure it out momentarily. I'm going to be blending these, and I want to blend it into the eyeshadow that we've already got, just to give that gorgeous blend it out gorgeousness. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I'm going to be using something called a pencil brush. And it's called a pencil brush because it is very fine tipped, but it is quite dense, so you can really work products in. And I'm basically going to be picking up the same colour that we've used to create the eyeliner, which was that one, and I'm just going to buff away until I'm happy, which is never. No, I am happy, I'm happy, I'm happy all the time. So I'm just going to work the outer corner with this brush. I really don't want to bring it further than that because I really like the crisp line. It doesn't have to be massively neat because I am going to be putting a shimmer over the top. Same on the other side. Not forgetting to use the brushes that we already have just to go over the top in that corner there to just make sure it's all blended together really seamlessly. And finally the colour that we originally started with, just to go over the top there. Actually going to go in, because I've gone quite warm, I'm going to go in with this first. I'm going to be placing this on the last half of my eyelid, and then I'm going to go full bright sparkle Barbie on the other. Normally I would say to use my fingers with the shimmer, but because I've got some work there that I don't want to disturb, and I've got quite large, got big fingers, I'm going to be using a flat brush. A flat brush with shimmers is much better than a fluffy one, because the fluffy one's just going to, which is a technical term, it's just going to kind of like send it everywhere, whereas with a flat brush at least you can pack it where you want it to go. Oh dear, making a mess. Right, so I've got my colour on my blush, and I'm going to pack that on there. I do like to slightly layer it over everything that we've done just because it sort of softens everything. And then I'm going to go over the top with this gorgeous Illamasqua colour in Madam. The consistency of these are really funny. They kind of feel a bit creamy, so for that reason I am going to go in with my finger, my little finger. I'm just going to swipe it on the last bit of my eyelid that's got nothing on. And it's just really bright, gorgeous. It's almost like a little bit too tonal, so you just get a lot from it. And I like colours like that aren't flat. Now I'm going to work some product under my eye. I'm going to be using the pencil brush that we used to buff out that liner, and I'm not putting anything else on it. I'm just going to use this to work into the outer corner of my eye and slowly sort of bring forward. And then I'm going to use the denser brush to just work over the top. Again, not putting anything excess on here. And I'm just pulling and blending that darker colour along the whole bottom of my lash line. The powder highlight that we used in this lovely gold, I'm going to be putting it on the tip of my finger and just pressing it into the inner corner of my eye. That's really going to brighten it up. Okay, those are my eyes done. Now, brows. Let's talk brows. I always say when it comes to eyebrows, unless someone has a specific way that they like their brows to look, it's all about balance of the rest of the makeup. If your eyes are quite intense and heavy, I would put more product on than I would if you didn't have any eye makeup on. But you always start by brushing them up into place. I want to keep my brows quite soft actually, and romantic and fluffy. I'm going to be using a brow pencil and a brow mascara. I'm going to be using this one by Benefit. It's precisely my brow pencil in shade 3, and I'm going to be working the majority of the product from the centre of my brow out towards the back, and then I'm going to be fluffing up the front. My pressure's really light. I think that's really important when you want a fluffy brow. That's all I'm going to do. And then when it comes to the front, I like to draw a tiny little line to connect the front to that bit there. And then I start to do little hair flicks up from the line that I've just drawn. And then I always go back over the top with a spoolie, and that just like blends and melts all of that pencil together, so you can't even see the little lines that I've just drawn. And then I'm going to go over the top with a brow mascara. The reason that I do this is I think actually the brows look more natural when you can see the hairs defined. And I'm going to be using this one from Benefit as well. I work the product from the centre to the back first, and then I use the same side of the brush to do the front. So there we go, those are my eyebrows done. I think they match the level of my eyes quite nicely. And so now we're going to move on to my lips. Unless somebody says they want a specific colour or they're comfortable wearing a specific colour, I like to just sort of enhance the natural lip colour that they have there. For me, I've got quite a pinky lip. You can't actually see very well now because I've got foundation on them. So I'm going to take that off. Yeah, my lips are quite dark in colour anyway, so I like to use colours like this, which I think is quite a good match for me. Always line your lips, gals, don't miss it out. It makes such a huge difference. So I'm going to line my lips first, define the shape up, and then I'm actually just going to shove on a bit of a gloss. Obviously I forgot to say what I was using, classic. This is by Illamasqua. I have no idea what the colour is. It's in the shade Woo! Ooh. Next up, I'm going to be using Illamasqua Gloss, but it doesn't have a shade on it unless it's come off because I've had it for so long. Pop that on the back of my hand, oh god, and work it into my lips with my finger. Then lastly, I'm just going to go in with a little bit of mascara. A lot of women like to wear falsies on their wedding day. I'm not a falsies kind of girl. But that's totally optional. I would say I do enjoy a 3/4 length lash on a bride. One, because they're easier to apply, and two, just because they're not as intense, natural, nice, gorgeous, stunning, amazing, super. So I'm just using a nice mascara. I'm going to build up the top layer, and then I'll do a little bit on the bottom. So there we go. That is a classic bridal look there, done for you. Honestly, I feel like a freaking princess. I haven't taken that much time and precision on my own makeup in a really long time, and it's actually really nice to do. I'd love to know what you think, as always. I'd love to know if you give this a go for your own wedding. I'm really pleased with the outcome. I think it looks really beautiful, actually. Da-dum-dum, da-dum-da-dum. I hope you've enjoyed this week's video. And if you have, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Bye!